Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of The World Today. I'm Ahmed Nader, and as usual, we will be discussing the latest headlines and articles published in several newspapers and magazines from Egypt and the world. And today I'm honored to be having with me in the studio Dr. Sharif Amir, the political analyst and the researcher at Paris University. Dr. Sharif, thank you very much for being with us today on The World Today.
You're welcome. Hello.
We will be starting straight away with Al-Ahram Online and the main headline saying, Egypt elected as the president of the 2016 International Renewable Energy Agency's 6th session. The International Renewable Energy Agency's Arena General Assembly elected Egypt to be president for the 6th session held in the United Arab Emirates on Saturday and Sunday. The Egyptian Electricity Minister Mohammed Shakir is currently heading the Egyptian delegation at the two-day session. The session focuses on the important role played by the renewable energy in fighting the climate change and reaching sustainable development goals. The Assembly, the first intergovernmental meeting after December's UN Climate Conference in Paris, is to discuss the strategies to spread the use of the renewable energy. Government officials from 10 countries and representatives from 140 international organizations are attending the conference. Dr. Sharif, what is the significance of this post and, of course, the importance of holding it for Egypt?
Well, it's a new role for Egypt on the international arena, first thing, and it shows that Egypt now has a role as a developing country in promoting renewable energy, and it has its own project and has its own investment arena in this kind of field. I think that it will be a significant chance for Egypt to present all its views and promote its plans for investing these renewable projects internationally in Egypt.
Yes.
And we have all the means doing so. We have the water, we have the air, and we have, of course, the solar systems.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have the capability to be pioneering.
Of course,
such a role.
Of course,
yes.
It's a significant chance, opportunity, and I hope that it will be used. It's a golden chance. It will be used for our economy, because this is the actual trend now. Because many countries, as you have just said, in France, when they had the international organizations,
the climate summit in December.
Exactly.
Yes.
They all said that we have to fight this pollution, and we have to do it in the developing countries, mm-hmm. especially in Africa, and we have to help these countries. So now Egypt has the voice and has the opportunity to present its views and to promote it. And I think that it will take some time viewing the security situation in the region, but we will achieve something if we have a real plan to present to these countries and make the lobby that we need to promote our views.
Yes, turning from Al-Ahram Online to Egypt Independent, and the main headline says, Egypt harshly condemns Burkina Faso militant attack. Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that Egypt strongly condemned Friday's terrorist attack on a hotel in Burkina Faso's Ouagadougou that killed at least 26 people. Ministry spokesman Ahmed Abu Zaid expressed that the Egyptian government and the people's condolences to the victims of multiple nationalities. The victims are reportedly from 18 different countries. Abu Zaid also stressed that Egypt stands by Burkina Faso's government and people in the fight against terrorism. The unprecedented attack in Burkina Faso took place on Friday night when militants attacked a hotel and a restaurant that are frequently visited by Europeans and United Nations personnel. The French Foreign Ministry said that around 150 people were injured. French troops were backed Burkina Faso troops as they positioned themselves in the city as part of a regional counter-terrorism initiative. First of all, how do you see the current security situation in Africa as a whole and in Burkina Faso to be specific?
Well, we're witnessing now a great movement of these terrorist movements there. Boko Haram in Nigeria, and we have Boko Haram is everywhere now. It's also in Cameroon. They go through the frontiers of other countries.
And Shabab in Somalia.
And Shabab in Somalia, of course. So, and we have also what happened in Mali was 2 months ago. The problem now is that the French presence in Mali has to be coordinated with other countries in the region, and France is now working on it. But now the problems that they have, what they call it in French, the ACME with Al-Qaeda, Islamic Maghreb, and the branch of Al-Qaeda in this region. And we have Boko Haram, and we have also, as you said, Shabab in Somalia, and we have the Islamic State Daesh in Libya. So there's numerous groups. Now the French, and there's American center, it's called AFRICOM, as the center of fighting terrorism there. They have to coordinate together, because what we're witnessing there, that not only the Western interests are targeted, there is also a violation of the borders between the countries. Boko Haram, it's like what Daesh did between the borders of Iraq and Syria. They're doing the same thing in Africa. So there is the same ideology is going on now.
How do you see the impact of these attacks in Africa, on other countries in the world and other continents even?
Well, the impact is that there is a sense of insecurity. And the African governments, especially their security forces, should be trained, should be well trained, because these regions, which is Burkina Faso, which is Chad, and all these are also an economic interest for the Western countries. And if Al-Qaeda or other groups just have the opportunity to control these regions, it will impact the economy of some European countries, especially France.
Yes.
For example, in the Niger, there is the uranium mines there. So, and Al-Qaeda said many times that they will use these interests to target France. So I think that they have to strengthen the security forces, local security forces in these countries, and ask the population there to be aware of, because the same thing, I've studied the two cases in Bamako in Mali and Burkina Faso. There was lack of security in both countries. They were unprepared. It took 2 days for the French special security forces to intervene, and with the American forces. And when they finished, the hotel was called Splendid, where there were many hostages and many dead. They went the next day or at the morning to another cafe called Cappuccino just beside Splendid. So they are managing the situation better than the local security forces.
Yes.
And this has to, and what's very weird, that these people are not they're not locals. They come from other countries, they know better, and they know how to use their weapons in these regions. So I think that African countries have to be offered also the training and the means to defend interests there.
Yes, and turning from Burkina Faso to Palestine and the Gulf today says that more than 1,000 homes for the Gazans displaced by war. Qatar provided more than 1,000 apartments to residents of the Gaza Strip whose homes were destroyed in the 2014 Israeli assault on Gaza. The Israeli 51-day assault on Gaza last summer alone killed over 2,200 people and left more than 12,000 others injured. More than 100,000 people were displaced. About 20,000 homes were destroyed or severely damaged in the most recent offensive, and most of the Strip's infrastructure and buildings were destroyed, including schools and hospitals. A total of 1,060 apartments had been completed, and the title deeds were being handed out to their own owners. Qatar has allocated a total of 373 million euros for the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip, including homes, infrastructure, and a hospital. How do you see the current situation Palestine, and of course the ongoing clashes and violence between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and of course the assaults that are being carried out by Israel every other year?
Well, I think first of all that the current situation in Gaza, first of all, I think that the local government there, which is the Hamas government, is giving all the excuses to Israel to do so, and Israel is enjoying that. They have the excuse to go in and kill innocent people, and this is war. But I think that also in the West Bank, there is some feeling for the Palestinians that there is something wrong with all the process now, that they're losing their lands, that they're going nowhere in the process, in the peace process, and the Israeli government is just using two politics: warplanes and tanks in Gaza, and on the other hand also security and intelligence presence in the West Bank. So there has to be an agreement at the end. And as I said before, this current situation, statu quo, would mean that there would be failure, a total failure, and this would lead to not an uprising. It will be maybe a regional war, because you always give excuses to radical movements to step in and say, well, we are prepared to defend the cause, and they use it for their own means at the end.
Yes.
So I think that the governments, the government in Israel and the regional governments should be aware of that, and should ask that a clear plan should be proposed to the Palestinians and to the Israelis. And at the end, I think that a solution would be something acceptable for all of them, because what the Palestinians are living now is they are disappointed, and disappointment will lead to violence.
Yes, and finally turning to the Daily Star of Lebanon, and the main headline says that Daesh abducts more than 400 civilians in East Syria, according to the Monitor. Daesh group abducted at least 400 civilians, including women and children, after capturing new territory in an assault on the Syrian eastern city of Deir ez-Zor. Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said on Sunday that after the attack on Deir ez-Zor, Daesh abducted at least 400 civilians from the residence of Al-Baghaliya neighborhood it captured and other areas in the northwest of the city. The Monitor said that those abducted, all of whom are Sunnis, include women, children and family members of the pro-regime fighters, adding that they were transported to other areas under Daesh control. How do you see the consequences of the Daesh attacks in Syria now?
Well, it's terrifying the locals, terrifying the people. Daesh is trying to show that it still manages to control these regions, especially after their defeat in Iraq. After the bombardment they suffered from the Russian justified interference. I think that it's the same old story, terrifying the locals, terrifying the innocent people, and that this is the way they will control the situation. But what scares me is that there will be bloodshed, they will kill more people, and they will use them.
In your opinion, what are the possible scenarios to be ending the conflict in Syria?
Well, first of all, the regional powers should accept that the current regime, whether they agree or not, is the only defense on the territories now. And they have to accept that Bashar al-Assad would stay even for a transitional period. Because if not, it will be chaos and it will be disastrous for all of us. So the political track should be followed, and I think that John Kerry, the Secretary of State in the United States, he knows very well that this is the only solution that Syria could face now, because all the military solutions now are going nowhere, except the intervention from the Russian part. It gives a strong signal that terrorism should be stopped by all means. But the political track should not be forgotten. And the people of Syria deserve now, after the refugees tragedy that we are seeing now in Europe, deserve a political transition operation with the UN and the regional forces and the regional and international powers as the United States and Russia.
Yes, Dr. Sharif Amir, the political analyst and the researcher at Paris University, thank you very much for being with us today on Nile TV and The World Today. And this brings us to the end of the World Today episode for Sunday. Thank you for watching and goodbye.